The skies weep. My country screams. I watch in agony. The eyes of the people I love dearly tell stories of sadness. There are children who have become broken adults, and now their children inherit that hurt. Trauma becomes Sudan's greatest legacy. I was born in Kakuma refugee camp, which is a settlement for refugees on the border of Kenya and Sudan. After a few years, my family moved to Nairobi because my mom got a job working for the UN. She was an interpreter, and through her affiliations, we were able to get immigration status and move to Canada. Being born in a refugee camp and then coming to Canada and being bullied, being told you're a refugee, that word, it really branded me because it made me wonder, where do I belong? Being told you're Sudanese, being told you're Canadian, you're just floating. It was a really big disconnection, but I had two names growing up. I had Lois and I had Adhel. I got baptized. The name Lois was given to me by the church. At home I was Adhel, and at school and in public I was Lois. But those two things never came together. So I became like a little social chameleon as a kid. I really am an introverted person, but I put it on a facade of having this great personality so that I could hide away from people. Nobody really knew what it was about. Nobody really knew me. I've always wanted to express myself. And if I felt really emotional and I couldn't talk to them about it, I'd write poetry for my friends. And for a long time, that's the only way that I knew how to communicate, was to write it on a piece of paper and hand it to somebody. And I wrote a lot of poetry about hating everything that was Black about myself. The first time I modeled, I was about 14. I was walking in the mall with my sister, and this photographer comes up to me and hands me her card and says, "You're beautiful, and I would love to photograph you." So that was the first time I ever stood in front of a camera. But I was still battling with myself quite a lot because I don't know if I felt beautiful yet. When I come home crying about not feeling beautiful, my mom used to tell me, "How can you be crying when you look like that? Look at how beautifully dark your skin is. Look at how tall and slim you are." That is what defines beauty back home. So if you look into yourself and look at your blood, the blood that runs through your veins, none of it belongs to Canada. So why are you crying because of it?
Yina biya la beje tu lora dia Canadian le ting kalangi chol kulwel gal. Chiri wega bo we cha diet nga diet tan wega bo we cha diet. Ku jal ka bani jam wega lora wega wajat. Chala ba jam Ingilizi. Yini ngode nye yin monja. Lazim ba jam tong monja.
My mom didn't let us speak English at home. We used to say, Mom, this happened at school today. And she's like, "Jame tong den lebaping." Speaking a language that I understand. She told me every day to look at my skin and to know where it comes from. She would sit with me and break it down. This is your aunties, your uncles. This is my mother, my brother. And she'd just sit there and tell me about my family tree. That was the way she kept our culture alive, is she shared it with us. But she didn't speak about how she felt. And it was different because my friends' parents did. In my culture, you don't just start asking too many questions. I didn't know my mother for a long time. The only time I saw her express herself was when I used to see her in the living room with music playing out of our boombox. And her eyes would just drift to the side, and she'd have an expression that I've never seen before in my life. And she would sing, and she would be so peaceful. When we were in Burnaby, we lived in a pretty rough neighborhood, and there was a drive-by shooting in front of my apartment building. And I just remember a huge, like, boom sound, and my mother coming in the room, just like slamming the door open and just grabbing heads and shoving them on the floor. And just like, I've never seen her move so fast in my life. She just started grabbing the kids and putting everybody into the middle of the hallway. And she was just on, like, defense mode. And that was the first time I ever wondered how she knew how to do that. And it really scared me a little bit as well. I used to stay at my Aunt Rose's house. And I remember one time when she was braiding my hair, she looked down at me and said, "Adhel, do you know who your mother is?" And I said, "No." "What do you mean?" She says, "Me and your mom, we were soldiers as children. We were soldiers." And she says, "You need to love your mom, because there's nobody that's more powerful than her." It took a long time for her to open up to me. It took strangers telling me before she did. And every time I would hear something new, I'd be like, "Who is my mom? Who is she?" And I'd come back and tell her, "So-and-so said this and this about you." And she would just sit there and smile at me and say, "You don't know who I am yet, hey?" And then she'd go back to being quiet. Not knowing my mom, it made me frustrated because this was a time I was struggling with myself the hardest. Because I felt so disconnected from my family, I wanted to be alone and figure out why. I think I was just too overwhelmed with everything. And there was too much silence back at home. But my aunt insisted, and she told me to keep looking into it. She would just give me stories every time I would see her, and I'd run back to hear more. And so I was just like, okay, like there's so much layers to this. Let me find out more. And I knew I couldn't ask my mom because she wasn't ready to talk about it.
When I think about South Sudan, usually I just thought about the war and all the horrible things that people are doing to each other as the civil war goes on.
Is there one memory that sticks out to you from all of them?
Yeah, when I was 4 years old, coming with my brother-in-law. He was carrying me, and then we reached a small town where it just happened that the soldiers killed a lot of people, so there were still bodies in that area, and they were telling us, when you go, make sure you follow the footprint of other person. If you step somewhere else, you might step in the mine. And I was not scared, but I thought, like, that's weird, right? Why do I have to step in somebody's footprints?
We had to like try and find peace from like, neighboring countries and stuff like that. So
do you have one memory that stands out to you the most?
Yeah, I do. And that was when my mom was carrying me on her back as she's also holding an AK, fighting our way through, adversities and stuff like that. That right there never left my mind, and that's like, wow.
Finding out my mom was a child soldier was very hard for me to understand what she went through, but it also made me understand her more as a mother and as a woman.
As I got older and I understood that the only reason that all these things happen is because of war, right? So I kept looking into it, And I kept researching. I went online and just kept learning and learning. And eventually my mom finally spoke. And now we're here.
Okay, and I create banjalo. Kujala tutui, chenang mother and daughter like this. Ôi bụng như vậy buộc giảm con nó có quên có hình nó trên tay em chưa căng như chỗ có mà buộc giảm khi ra căng lo cả so yeah năn khi căng mệt khi căng child yani to experience child or balariang cái mít leo so yeah before kajan bana nyanya kana ana ta sokole 82 mashkala chirat jo ko ta sokole lakini aya ja pieng bas ko ja jam una lo election ka lwel gal election lo ko ja ka okay ka pe so wa ja ka do pa the first year live and kat ko buk ja kat buk ja la ram mi school juej ko jal ka jal mi the secondary school ku jala mi ko ka jama university student ku jala yi elementary buk ja chat ka pe ka diak pe ka dia ko chat ko ja chat I remember no yom de chat ok buro ko ja na ko ja no nin ka ro ko ki dek a chok cheran chok nang la ji a cham be chak la bi ka dek ko ko na no ran che la ka te ro ko ro nok tan cham bi ka dek ente jog medan bani yok ko ja ko ito medan e and then ko ja la about 300 shabab mi sukul ko no nge jej liwa dai koryom ko ga chol katiba banat ko ga poje ka je jamar chinke cham ko mo ban te tingi ran ban e jal tingi skeleton en chat e riel po ne ko ja chat kuran ban yen kalang ran ban che gop to ban che kan ne ko ne ka biran ban te lakin training a chuk ja ban yo
السنة الجاية تاني انتم بكون احسن بالكثير.
Yeah, training kama ko ja chito training kama. Yeah, non ko chito training kama. Ku jala ko je ko luoi training. A ja me won chera ne to ko ja luoi da ko bi ko ja ru ko chop kule ye jol pi we kula ka ben bay kule la mu chi ne ra ne to. Gal ngwen chen kasara me dan they need to lose somebody. Tenop ja ko ban ko ja ben te luoi ne i kala ka chi ka go chat pe. Prisoners ay ka match e woje ko li de ko e nang piu ko jala ko no ngai prisoners en kan batin kalang bu ko di nyop tingi ne ko che ga der cha ben ba eran to gan che escape ko jal the rest of the people la che to but nothing ka I think ran che to like this
Wow.
very bad karaja de I witness en kana very bad pagari ake dia de ket ka ake ga ko mo pot relwel moral ponong diet ko wone ko ji na ket ke chimene den lwel gal ban kwa nyen kai wai kwate ku keden den ku ting ba ko ting ran bana cha de yom like this ake ga ko lo shan sometime yo keden den ku na la ko ting kin le ba dia yeah situation in le ba dia Shala baba banugum ka nyej gal miet cha bogot. Aba so kol tapu nga brar nyej lo shan benang pir den pada kolet. Chiba bara lo chit ka bana la lo lon clinic. Ka nyej tek that. Pir le be be war ma zamanda.
Okay, mama. Remember Jamton. I deeply thank my mom for sacrificing herself for her family, for giving up her life in Kenya, giving up her job at the UN, and bringing us to Canada for a better opportunity in life. Sitting down and watching these videos with my mother, it really inspired me because I understood her suffering. I understood why she chose silence over words. I understood why she wasn't able to tell me what she had been through. It hurt me, but it also made me stronger. Because I don't think that I felt like I was being loved properly. But now I realize that I don't think anyone loved me as much as my mother did. She just had a different way to show it. And so I think it's our disconnection. And even speaking Dinka to each other brings us closer because I understand her better. And she understands me when I speak to her like that. And so she's back at that, speaking a language that I can understand. So now I am.
Rena dela kaka kamana del kane monjang lwel gal del ujene ne kwer gal ti chin kwer yok ka kwer le bi yat ama bi yat wut ama bi yat bai te no ngai koch so kwer e kapat e yat wan no ngai kapat bala yok.
Taking on the name Adhel is taking on everything that I hated about myself. Taking the name Adhel is embracing my roots. Taking on the name Adhel is not being afraid of who I was as a child. It's like the union of those two identities that were split in half as a child, you know? And now I can be one person and I can share that person with the world. It's not where you come from. It's who you come from. They give me strength and drive my passion, and in return, I want to inspire any little girl that feels alone and wonders, who am I? Where do I belong? I tell those little girls, check your feet and see where your roots grow. Where are my roots? They stopped growing. The sun, the one shone so bright, eclipsed by war. We Dinka, a proud people, warriors of warfare left hollow, lifeless, starving for salvation, carried off into graves while those who survive continue holding funerals for the parts of themselves that die every day.
Carbino kwanyin wena bolchi wa ba wadia wada bara kaza ngwana to wet kwa ne tu ngwana to wet kwa ne jinu ngwana to pinye ya pienda